In this session, let's see how to externalize the SQL query from the application logic. So we have a simple select query to get the booking details for the flight number. So flight number we are getting from the query parameter. So this is the simple query we have, and this is the query we have currently in the application logic. So it's very important to separate the query from the application logic so that we can easily maintain and manage the query. And also we will have opportunity to reuse the query based on the requirement. So let's see how we can create the file and move this query to a SQL file. So we have the listener and the simple select statement and the transfer message where we are getting the result set from the query and giving the response in application JSON. So let's execute the API select data. So number is the query parameter that we are using in the query. We are giving the flight number dynamically, and this is the query parameter. And currently we don't have any data for the flight number 1, 2. So, but we have the bookings done for the flight number 1, 2, 3. So we can see the set of bookings. So let's try for the different flight number. Yes, even for the flight number 4, 5, 6, we have some set of bookings done. So we can search for ID and we have total of 11 bookings done for the flight number 4, 5, 6. So we have the API which is working fine, and we have a simple select query. So let's copy the query and create an SQL file. We'll create the SQL file in source main resources folder, which is accessible by our Mule application. The source main resources folder, let's click on new file. Let's name it as, you can name the file SQL file based on the type of the query. And here we are getting the flight, we are getting the bookings for a flight. So let's name it as get bookings for flight.sql. Let's click on finish. So this is the name of the file where we are going to add our SQL query, and we'll again read the query from this particular file. So we have the file created. Let's copy the query, open as text editor, and just paste the query that we are currently using in the application. So this is the query. Just copy paste and save the details. We can create the SQL file directly, or it's always good practice to create the specific folders. For example, if you have the property files, you can place it under properties folder. Similarly, let's create a folder named as SQL and move the SQL file inside the SQL folder. So we have the file inside SQL folder. So let's read the query from the file. So before we read the file content from the database connector, let's read the content from the transfer message just to make sure we are reading the query from the file properly. Let's provide the output in application JSON. So now we are trying to read the file content from the DataWeave. So file is the prefix, and we have our SQL file added in the source main resources, which is accessible to our Mule application. So after the file prefix, we'll have to provide the path to the file. We have SQL file added in the SQL folder. So let's add the folder, then the name of the file. So I just copied the file name. So file is the prefix, and next is the path to the file. We'll use the symbol $ with curly parenthesis. This is same syntax for reading the values from property file. So in this case, we are reading the content from the file. So we have the prefix file. So this is the syntax to read from the file. So let's save the details. So now we should be able to read the content from this SQL file and give user the response in application JSON format. So let's execute the API. Yes, we are getting the content from the file as it is. So this is the syntax to read from the file, and this is the syntax in the DataWeave expression. So let's copy the expression. We have this inside double quotes because we are reading it from the DataWeave. And we don't need to add the double quotes here when we are reading the query, which is already in the text format. So now we are reading from the SQL file. Previously we had the query in the application logic itself. So now we did externalize the query and reading the details from the file. And the query as the dynamic parameter flight number, and we are providing the value to the input parameter. So let's save the details. And also let's remove the transfer message. We don't need this because we are reading the details from the database and giving the result set as a response. So let's save the changes. Looks like the changes are not saved yet. So let's save. Yes, the application is getting deployed. So let's wait. Okay, the application is deployed. Let's execute and test. Yes, we are getting the booking details. If we try for the flight number which is not available, then we don't get any bookings. So this way we can separate the query from the application logic. So we created a SQL file and reading the query from the file directly. So we can also have these queries added in the property files and we can read from there. But it's always good practice to create the SQL file so that we'll have opportunity to reuse. So it's always good to externalize queries. That's it for today. Thank you.